Storms don't always warn you that they're coming. You don't get to pick what life is going to hand you. You cannot control the storm. And when you're in a storm, the big question in your mind is, do I have what it takes to stand against this storm? I prophesy to you, there has been a pause in your life. There has been a silence in your life. The light has gone out in your eyes. The passion has gone out in your heart. And the devil has said, this is it. But I want you to know that God is going to bring something out of the silence of your life that's going to break every yoke, every chain, and every fetter. There is nobody you're going to meet or greet or fall in love with or fall out of love with that will avoid the fact that storms are built into God's plan for getting you to the other side. You have to know that He equipped you with a fire extinguisher and a life raft and an emergency exit and a door that moves and an automated system and a microphone, and so that even when you can't see Him, you can hear Him. And if you will follow His voice, you will get to the other side. The problem is storms are noisy and they're loud and they're disruptive, and there's so many people screaming and hollering, and people are saying hold back, and people are saying push through, and people are saying turn the wheel, and somebody else is saying grab the rudder, and somebody else is saying throw the weights off, and somebody else is saying cast the anchor, and somebody else is saying put up the sail, and you're standing there, you don't know whether to put up the sail, throw the anchor, cast the side. And the real art I have learned so far in the storm is not fixing the storm. The first thing we do when we get in the storm is to try to fix the storm. The storm is not yours to fix. The storm is yours to survive. You cannot fix the storm. That's number one. You cannot fix the storm. You cannot fix the storm. And this drives you crazy. And I'm gonna make a generalization. It's not always true, but I'm gonna make it anyway. But it's particularly difficult for men because we are raised to fix stuff. We grew up fixing stuff. A lot of women grew up with relationships with dolls, with doll babies, playing house, all that kind of stuff. You grew up with that kind of stuff. We grew up fixing stuff. Most of us, they didn't give us doll babies. They probably should have. Maybe we'd have been better fathers if we'd have practiced with babies. We practiced making them better than we did having them. So maybe we would have been better, but they gave us tools and they gave us stuff to build and they gave us stuff to fix. And so whenever you give us a problem, we want to fix it because we feel like we're a failure if we don't fix it. And there are some women who feel that way too. You feel like you failed if you don't fix it. If your daughter doesn't turn out the way you wanted her to turn out, if your son doesn't turn out the way you wanted, if your marriage doesn't turn out the way you wanted to turn out, you lose self-esteem because you feel like it's your fault, because you can't fix it. And you're embarrassed to admit to other people that you're on your third marriage and that you can't fix it. And you're embarrassed to admit to other people that you have been here a year and gone through 3 jobs and you can't fix it. And I came to tell you, every storm that comes your way is not your job to fix. I'm gonna let that sink in a little bit. Because a lot of you pride yourself on being able to fix people. And that's why you pick out fixer-uppers. Because you think you're so good at fixing stuff that you are drawn to people who are fixer-uppers so that you feel needed and you can fix them up. You are not on this boat to fix this storm. When they set sail, everything was cool. Jesus is taking a nap This is an important trip because to cross over the Sea of Galilee and go to the other side was to go to Gadarenes. Not just that the man was possessed with demons, but the man who was possessed with demons was a Gentile. And getting the gospel over to the Gentiles was a very important trip. It was a prophetic trip. Jesus experiencing the Jews on one side and the Gentiles on the other was a prophetic picture of what was going to happen to the early church. The early church was going to start being offered to the Jews and consequently end up going to the Gentiles. It was going to start out being based in Jerusalem and end up based in Rome. The church was going to take the same journey that the boat did. The church is the boat. The sea is the world. And here we are trying to navigate the church through the tempest of the world. And the boat has one culture and the sea has another culture. And we are in it, though we're not of it. And we have to survive it, being in the middle of it, because even though we're not of it, we are still in it. And we get tossed and beat to and fro because we can't get the boat to work without putting it in the water. And the church doesn't work without the world. The church doesn't work without the world. Every time the church has tried to escape the world, we've made fools of ourselves. If you know church history, there are many times we've gone up on the mountain to wait for Jesus. We've colonized and moved out and become cultish to wait on Jesus. Anytime the boat tries to escape the sea, it ends up embarrassed because the boat only works in the sea. And the church only works in the world, and the world is unpredictable. One text can change the next 10 years of your life. One phone call can change how the rest of your day goes. One text and you're trying to book a flight to get out of here on the next flight possible to get to some place that you never expected to get to as quickly as you could because all of a sudden a storm hits you. Storms don't always warn you that they're coming. It's not like they send out a notice and say, you're getting ready to get on a boat and all hell's going to break loose. Oh, about 50 fathoms out into the water, you're going to run into the worst time of your life. You're going to think you're going to die. Oh, once you get so high in the air, the pilot is going to pass out and you're going to be scared out of your wits and you're going to almost lose your mind. Oh, you're going to have a baby and the baby's going to die in your arms and you're going to be sadder than you've ever been in your life. You're going to lose all 3 of your first pregnancies. Your husband is going to leave you for your girlfriend or your sister, your auntie, your cousin, run off with your mama. No, nobody, you don't get to pick. Oh, you think that's funny? You think that's funny, don't you? Yeah, you think that's funny, but that's happening. That's happening. That's happening. That's happening. That's happening all around you. Nobody gets to tell you that your beautiful bride is going to fall in love with a beautiful bride and leave you home alone. Hee hee, ha ha, ha ha, hee hee, ha ha, hee hee, ha ha, ha. But it's happening. You don't get to pick the storm you face. Peter didn't ask for this storm. He didn't vote for this storm. He didn't have a meeting with God and say, oh God, I want to deal with leukemia. I pick leukemia. What do you want? Do you want to go blind or would you prefer leukemia? How about losing a couple of toes? Would you rather lose your family or lose your toes? Would you rather lose your leg or lose your sight? Would you rather lose your mind or just lose your memory? Which you don't get to pick what life is going to hand you. You cannot control the storm. And to all those control freaks, which come in both genders, you have a special degree of trauma because the only time you feel safe is when you're in control. And what binds together the story between the airplane and the boat is both of them faced a season of being totally out of control. And I confess to you, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't want to be in something I can't control. I don't want to be in a plane because I can't fly it. And if you can't fly it and I can't fly it, I don't want to go. I don't want to operate on myself because I'm not trained to do it. I don't want to be picked for a job I can't perform. I want to know clearly what the expectations are for me before I get the job. Because I'd rather give you the check back than to take the money and disappoint you because I can't deliver what you're asking for. And when you're in a storm, the big question in your mind is, do I have what it takes to stand against this storm? Am I equipped? Am I fully equipped? Can I get my hand on my life vest? Can I swim out of here? Can I withstand how cold this water's gonna be? Can I make it through at my age? Can I make it through at my stage? Can I make it through at this moment in my life? Can I make it through after all the other stuff we've been through? After all, we were busy before we got on the boat. We were journeying before we got on the boat. All hell, it broke loose before we got on the boat. And now I'm on the boat and I'm so tired that Jesus has gone to bed. This is not a good time to have a storm. I want to talk to some real people who were tired before it ever even started. All hell was breaking loose before it ever even started. And you know, if Jesus went to bed, Peter was sleepy. Because everywhere Jesus had been, Peter had been. And the worst time to have a storm is when you're already tired. That's why the enemy waits till you're tired. He waits till you're burned out. He waits till you're frustrated. He waits till you're out of gas. He don't jump on you when you're fresh. He don't jump on you when you're feeling strong. He don't jump on you when you got it all together. He waits till you are exhausted and you feel like if one more thing hits me, I am going to lose it up in here. And that's when the storm comes. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over, from Old Testament to New Testament, there's one consistent phrase you see over and over again. And it came to pass. And it came to pass. And it came to pass. After many days, Jesus was in Gennesaret, and it came to pass that Ezekiel found himself in a valley, and it came to pass. And what you don't realize is that phrase is not just a lead in to the story. Every storm that ever hit the planet came. Let me try this side over here. Maybe I can find a little bit more faith. Every storm that ever hit the planet, no matter how fierce, no matter how devastating, no matter how many homes were destroyed, no matter how many people died in it, they always come. They give them new names. They give them different names. They run out of alphabets for it. Hurricane Ira, Hurricane Zozo, Hurricane Mabel, Hurricane, I don't care what you call it, it's still a hurricane. And no matter how severe, no matter how terrible, no matter how many lives were lost, dogs were lost, horses were lost, people were lost, families were lost, it still comes to pass. You remember Fred Sanford when he grabbed his chest and said, oh, this is the big one? I have grabbed my chest so many times I should have a handprint on my chest because I swore, oh my God, this is the big one. I'm never going to make it out of this. Oh God, this is too much. I can't handle it. I can't take it. I can't. And half of the stuff that broke my heart and brought me to tears and almost drove me crazy, I can't even remember. I can't even remember. I can't even remember what I was so frantic about. I can't remember why I was so frantic. I can't even, it's in my rear view mirror. But in that moment, in that second, when that storm hits and your feet get wet and the boat starts filling up with water, and Peter, who is an experienced sailor, doubts, can I be steady in the storm? I've had some tough storms. I'm not without storms. I've had storms. I've had storms on camera. I've had storms in people's face. And I learned that what I have to do is be steady in the storms. Can I talk to you this morning? I never will forget when we were doing our first mega fest. You have to understand, I'd never done it before. My pastor hadn't done it before. None of my pastor friends had ever done it before. Everybody thought I was crazy to do it. I was upstairs in the conference room when we came up with the name Mega Fest. We really wanted Manifest, but somebody else had that name, so we ended up calling it Mega Fest. I had a vision for which I had no name. So you remember when the event occurred, I remember when the name came. I named my vision. And then I got in the vision, and it was working. And nobody knew for sure whether it was going to work or not. It was working, but it didn't feel good working, because I could not get away from the fact, do you really have what it takes to pull this off? 86,000 women had registered, not to mention the men. We were over 100-some thousand people. The Georgia Dome, the World Congress Center, the Phillips Arena were all jammed and packed. I should have been happy. I wasn't. I was sick. I was nauseated. I was worried. I was afraid. Did we forget anything? I remember we had to pay $300,000 just for insurance because we had 10,000 children. Because you got to have your life vest, and you got to have your fire hydrant. You can't jump into this and be faint of heart. Stop wishing for other people's stuff, because you don't understand all the things they have to put into it to be ready to handle it. So it's the night before the press conference that leads up to it. And Jordan, we had 300 different press outlets, from as far away as the London Times to the New York Times to all over the world. And I'd never done a big press conference like that. And the devil said, they're going to eat you up in the morning. They're going to have you for breakfast in the morning. You might as well come over there with a coffee pot, because you are going to be the muffin. So frantically, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I called my PR person, and I just went nuts. I just went nuts. I just said, this is crazy, this is stupid. What in the world are we doing? What were we thinking about? We should have never got into this. We don't have to have no press conference. We don't need no press conference. This is serious today. And then I don't know. And she said to me, I hope she's watching right there, because she watches quite often. She said this to me, Bishop Jakes. She said, the whole world has turned its head to hear what you have to say. Do you have to say anything or not? And I hung up the phone and I thought, is that what this is? All I saw was what could go wrong, and all she saw was what could go right. I called her about my agony. She told me my agony was my opportunity. And all of a sudden, my perspective about the storm changed, because it is your perspective that has to change. If your perspective doesn't change, you will misunderstand that God allowed the storm to give you an experience that nobody else ever got to have in all of their lives, so that you would know him in a way that other people never knew him, because you went through something that other people didn't know. You want an uncanny anointing? Go through an uncanny storm. You want an uncanny influence? Go through an uncanny storm. You want an uncanny uncanny influence, endure an uncanny storm. You don't get this by wishing for it. You don't get it by getting on your knees for it. You don't get it by me putting oil on your head for it. You get it after you've suffered a while. The Bible said, I'll establish you and make you perfect. There are no shortcuts to the storm. Some of you are right smack dab in the middle of your storm. And this is not a time to faint. And this is not a time to give up. And this is not a time to die. The man said, I can't fly, but I can talk. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know etiquette. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I don't know what to do. Hello. Sometimes God takes you through something that you don't have a point of reference for. That it looks like you got it together. And nobody helps you because it looks like you got it together. And you are scared out of your mind. You are nervous as all get out. You got the worst case of diarrhea that you have ever had since you were 2 months old, and nobody knows it. I'm just keeping it real. I'm not talking about that little bit of stress where your hands are shaking. I'm talking about that kind of stress where your bowels are disrupted and you can't sleep at night and you're walking, looking out, talking to yourself, and you're looking out into the night and you're wondering if this is a big one, Agnes. I'm coming home. I'm going to die. And God sent me to tell you to be steady in the storm. Third thing, you didn't cause the storm. The storm is not your fault. It's not like Peter went in the wrong direction. It's not like this guy knew that this guy was going to pass out on the plane. You did not cause the storm. So stop allowing that voice to accuse you, because Satan is an accuser of the brother, and he will say, you brought this on yourself. You're a fool. You shouldn't have never done it. You must have lost your mind. What is it about you that made you think you could do something that big? You must be crazy. You must know storms come to everybody. Anointed people, saved people, unsaved people, backslidden people, whorish people, straight people, gay people, cute people, ugly people, fat, bow-legged people. Everybody has storm. What made you think that you would be exempt from going through storms? Everything that I know about God that matters, I learned it not in a concordance, not even in a scripture. I learned it all in a storm. I learned it all on the cliff, on the edge of the cliff, about to die, so sick I could throw up, and wondering if I would live to see another day. Everything I learned about God that mattered came through a crisis, not a promotion, not an advancement, not a check in the mail, not the accolades of men. That don't teach you jack. Going through sickness and pain and chaos and trouble and heartbreak and disgrace and embarrassment and frustration and humiliation and depression and grief unbearable. Everything I ever learned about the Lord is my shepherd. I learned it in a storm. I learned it in a fight. I learned it in a crisis. I learned it when the odds were against me. I learned it while they were talking about me like a dog. I learned it while they were rolling their eyes. I learned it while they were blogging about me. I learned it while they were lying on me. Who am I preaching to? And the word of the Lord is to stay steady in the storm. Don't back up, don't give in, don't give up, don't retreat, don't run from people, don't worry about what they think. Their opinion is not your victory. Changing their mind is not the crown that you're going to wear. People going to think whatever they're going to think. People going to say whatever they're going to say. Don't be distracted into trying to manage a storm that wasn't yours in the first place. David is leading the way. And he brings the Ark of the Covenant up on a new cart. He employs the help of Abinadab's sons, Ahio and Uzzah. And he brings back the glory. And what you have to see is he has at least 30,000, that's just men, with him. So let's just guesstimate 60,000 people are following him down a 7-mile road. A 7-mile biblical road, Palestinian road. Can you imagine what it is like to have 60,000 people on a road you couldn't drive a truck through? No interstates, no highways, 60,000 people. Every village along the way is standing aghast. What is that, girl? Look. Back down the road for miles of people following David. And this is his moment to show how he is different from other people. And his cause is good. He wants to bring back the glory. Nothing wrong with his cause. He got a new cart. He got Ahio and Uzzah. He got a band. They started playing music. People are waving banners. Here he comes, the new president, the new king, the new pastor. And there's nothing worse than having a problem when you're new. When you're old and you're established and you've been around for a while, an established church can withstand a blow. Nobody wants a blow, but if you've been around a long time, you've established yourself enough, there are some folks that'll stand by you. But when you're new and you run into a crisis, it could be fatal. And everybody's looking at him. And all of a sudden, he stumbles. Well, let me be fair. He didn't really stumble. The ox stumbled. The ox stumbled. The ox stumbled and the ark slid, and Uzzah reached out to grab it. And God got mad and killed Uzzah. And David got mad because God killed Uzzah. And he was frustrated because he started good and he stumbled. The stumble is inevitable. The stumble happens for correction. You cannot lead without having a stumble. I know all the prophets have prophesied to you the blessing of the Lord. It's going to overshadow you and it's going to get you and it's going to knock you out and your church is going to explode in 20 minutes and this is going to happen. Let me adjust this prophecy just a little bit. In between you and the fulfillment of that prophecy, it's going to be a stumble. I want all the senior statesmen who have lived through a stumble to just holler at your boy. Who would have thought that the ox would stumble? If anybody ought to be used to walking on dirt roads, it ought to be oxes. Have you ever had a problem in the most unlikely place? Everything you thought you'd have to go through, you never had to go through it. But in the very place that you knew you had it tight, all hell broke loose. The stumble occurs, and the Bible just notates that it occurs at the threshing floor. This is no accident. The threshing floor is the place where the harvesters would bring the wheat to separate the chaff from the wheat. What makes it and what doesn't, what's bred and what isn't. It removes the stalk and the inedible portions of the plant so that the only thing left is that which matters. Now the ox did good till it got to the threshing floor. He was walking real good. They were singing real good. They were waving banners real good till they get to the threshing floor. You don't know what you got as a leader till you get to the threshing floor. See, now when I look at people, I'm looking at them not to see are you doing good now, but are you tough enough to make it through the threshing floor? Could you make it if all your followers left you and they start cussing you on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram? Could you make it if you couldn't wear your suits and your little cute jeans and stuff? Could you make it if all hell broke loose? Could you make it if your child got pregnant? Could you make it if your name was in the paper? Could you make it if things went wrong? Could you make it through the threshing floor? Somebody in here has been through the threshing floor. See, the stumble is necessary because the stumble will let you know what you got wrong. The start doesn't tell you what you got wrong. The stumble tells you what you got wrong. Now, the ox stumbled. The ark slid, Uzzah snatched it, and he died. This is perplexing because why does God kill a man for trying to help? When you come to the stumbling place, you have to adjust the strategy to survival. I had a young man to go through a death of a loved one, and he was asking me, explain to me why this happened. Explain to me why it happened. I told him it's not important why it happened. Right now, you just got to survive it. See, when you go into crisis mode, you have to adjust your expectation to, if I can just survive it, if I can just put one foot in front of another, if I can one day at a time, sweet Jesus. I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but you came here in the middle of a crisis, and God said, all you got to do is survive it. The stumbling place makes you assess the damage. Before stumbling, you're assessing the destiny. But when you stumble, you stop assessing destiny and you start assessing the damages. And when you start assessing the damages, inevitably, you want to understand what caused this. The reason you want to know what caused it is so you can avoid that from ever happening again. So the first thing that begins to untangle the mystery is this cart. Says you're going about the right thing, but you're using the wrong tools. Every time you want to get a breakthrough, you figure who you can call. never realizing that you were enough.
That's right.
Your stumble occurs when you start thinking you need what you don't need. Your faith is in talent and tools and techniques. Where is your God? Where is your God, Pastor? John the Baptist didn't have none of that. You think your ministry's held up because you don't have the right building. You don't have the right worship team. You don't have the right musician. You didn't graduate from college, or you didn't graduate from the right college. So you keep building carts. The reason that I'm frustrated with David is because David should know better than to think he needed these tools. God had already designed a way to be carried.
Yeah.
He had meant for staves to be in the Ark of the Covenant, because if you put staves in the Ark of the Covenant and you've got the priests carrying the staves on their shoulders, there is something with which the weight is distributed in such a way that just because one person stumbles, you don't lose the cart. So I'm not sure that God was as mad at Uzzah as he was with David, but sometimes God has to kill your Uzzah to get your attention. You wouldn't listen at me long as you had Uzzah. Which brings me to the next point. You had the wrong tools. Number two, you had the wrong people. Why do you have Uzzah anyway? What does Uzzah know about glory? Uzzah was Abinadab's boy. Abinadab was a heathen. You got Ahio and Uzzah up front. So when you're stumbling, you need to check yourself out, because sometimes we stumble because we put the wrong people up front. I'm talking to somebody, I don't know who it is. They say, in corporate America, they say you should be slow to hire and quick to fire. And we're just opposite in church. We're quick to hire and slow to fire. Have you put the wrong people up front? And now you think you're supposed to convert what God wants to correct? Because don't forget, you got 60,000 people behind you while you're trying to convert what God wants to correct. And when you have the wrong people up front, it bottlenecks the entire organization. If you keep having a lot of problems out of a particular department, it is a sign something is out of place. My whole foot was throbbing like 9,000 demons had jumped on my foot, and it was a little tiny spur out of place. A little thing out of place will cause big pain.
Yeah.
I know it's not there now because the pain stopped. Anywhere you're having pain in your organization, something is out of place. You'll know when you get it right, because when you get it right, the swelling will go down and the pain will cease. The pain is a blessing. It is your body warning you, you got an Uzzah.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking about wrong tools. We're talking about wrong people. And they had come to the wrong place. See, I couldn't understand if the card is the problem and the people are the problem, why did it make it this long? And this is the problem with any tradition. Any tradition that lasts a while, we think that because it has survived, it is right. And it worked till you got to the threshing place. When you get to this place, it will show up what needs to be corrected. Can I go deeper? God got mad. David got mad. David is angry because he thinks it's about Uzzah. It was never about Uzzah. It was about his leadership, the competency of his leadership. And the threshing floor was just before you got back to Jerusalem. And God said, if I don't fix it now, you're not going to be ready for what I'm about to do in your life. I had to stop you right here and correct it because you are so close to your destiny that if I let you go in with those heathens up front, it would assassinate and contaminate every promise that I was going to do in your life. And I had to stop you right here and correct it before you go a step further. So we dealt with the start. We dealt with the stumble. And then came the silence. Uzzah is dead. God is angry. David is angry too. It's funny, because in the silence, his anger turns. At first, the Bible says he's angry. And then it says he's afraid. Isn't it funny how men camouflage every emotion with anger? God started moving in the silence of David's anger, unmasked the fact that beneath his anger, he is afraid. He is afraid of the Lord. He reverences him, but he is also afraid of him. I don't blame him for being afraid. He just killed the guy standing next to me. That would make you a little better. Okay? God starts dealing with what is at the core of him that is stopping him from making the shift. He's got to get to the root of the problem. So David leaves the Ark of the Covenant in the house of Obed-Edom, and God says, good. He gets in the house of Obed-Edom and he starts blessing the house of Obed-Edom, because one of God's greatest ministries is jealousy. Watch this, watch this, watch it. When God wants to shift you and humble you, he'll let you hear about somebody else that he's blessing. Somebody say, oh, you can't prove that. You can't prove that. When God wanted Hannah to know that her barrenness was not the end, he started blessing Peninnah to have baby after baby after baby. And the more God blessed Peninnah, the more Hannah got frustrated. Finally, Hannah comes into church and says, I'm not leaving out of here till I get a word from God. I hope you are jealous. I hope you came here upset. I hope it gets on your nerves to see the church down the street and the people down the road and the marriage over here and the kids over there doing well, because maybe it'll make you fall down on your knees and lay before God and say, God, give me a child lest I die. Somebody holler, I want it now. He did it with Jacob and Esau. He did it with the elder brother and the younger brother. When the elder brother heard of the party that was going on inside of the father's house, he got upset. How come you didn't do it for me? And God said, the father said, you could have had it all the time, but you didn't make the shift. You didn't make the shift. You have to speak up. You have to open up. You have to open up, sir. You have to open up. You have to give the part of yourself that men don't like to give. You have to do this from your heart and not from your head. And so God many times has to crush you to open up your heart so that he can get the glory out of your life. Can I get an amen? He did it with Israel and the church. The only reason the church exists is to get on Israel's nerves. Read the book of Romans. You'll see how God uses the church to provoke Israel to jealousy. Does he want the jealousy? No, he's trying to stir you up to say there's more for you. There's more for you. Don't believe what the doctor said. You're not as barren as you think you are. Let me get this out. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. He said, tell them this. There is a narrative over your city that says that no great works can be done in that city. And whenever you hear ministries going forth, you say it may work in Dallas, it may work in Chicago, but it'll never work in fill in the blank. Whatever that spirit is, that is a lying demon from the pit of hell. God said, I am the same God in your city. I'm just as able to bless you as I am anybody else. All you need to do is make the shift. Tell somebody, say shift. I prophesy to you. There has been a pause in your life. There has been a silence in your life. There has been a routine and a ritual that has persisted in your life. The light has gone out in your eyes. The passion has gone out in your heart. And the devil has said, this is it. But I want you to know that your pause is pregnant. And God is going to bring something out of the silence of your life that's going to break every yoke, every chain, and every fetter. Touch your neighbor and say, get ready for a shift. You're going to shift in your tools. You got to shift in the quality of the people you got. You got to shift in your mentality. You got to shift in your disposition. But God brought you here to stir you up. You haven't seen the half of what God is about to do in your life.